Here we are.
Slew of people waiting right there off the bat.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, I see cameras this time, faces this time. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not all alone.
They see there's Deb as well. Hello.
Oh, that means you're great, great. Fiona is also here, but she's hiding, which is not good. Now there we go.
Just to prove she wasn't in the PG.
Morning, morning. I see many known names today, which is great to see.
It is great, isn't it? I mean, it's brilliant because I mean, with like this period of the year when there's no like trade shows or anything like that kind of thing, it kind of makes you remember how good it was when we were all connecting via Zoom and stuff like that.
It,
But
it,
it is nice to see people. There's Sean. Hello, Sean. Carol. Hello.
Morning, everybody. So, uh, Alex, now I'm interrupting you already while you're drinking. I was about to do exactly the same. Would you like to say something today, or we just crack on?
Yes, again, just really briefly, a huge thank you for everyone for attending. It's it's been an amazing response to last week. I've had so many positive comments and messages from people saying how great Julia was, which is why I'm thrilled that she's back for the second part today. And I think this more practical aspect is going to be really
Yeah.
useful for people. It's going to, what we're looking for is not just filling your head with ideas and stuff that will say like, right, now you go and do that. It's actually giving you real world applications to stuff that you go away today, action, and it's actually going to make a massive difference to your business, hopefully. So that's what we're about. That's why I'm thrilled Julie's here again. Because there's so much information to cram in, I'm just going to shoot straight over to Julia. And then I'll be here again if you want to ask questions, if you want to drop a message in or anything like that, I'll be here. And Julie, do you want me to read out questions that come through so you can
If
concentrate on
you
doing what
if
you're
you
doing?
can, yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
If you could help me with that. This morning I've decided not to use slides because I would really want to try and keep it a practical to do actual work together, but also for you all to be involved or more involved. Most of you, I remember, were last time with us, so you should know what our point of view is at the moment, or the point of view that we're using to get into the practical work. But just as a recap, what we were saying last time is the good, there's some really great and positive news, which is what we are seeing, and if you are experiencing or you have experience of decrease or a slowdown in inquiries, bookings, and so on, my invitation would be, don't think that the industry is dead. Don't think that there's any fundamental issues with the photography industry. Things have changed massively from a user or consumer's behavior point of view, and also from a more specific marketing or specifically marketing point of view. What we're going to try and do today is to give you the first few steps to follow to try and implement what we've discussed last time to make it practical, because I know between the theory and, okay, how do I apply this to my business, there's a huge gap. So again, we will not use slides, but we will try to do some work together. I hope that you have the material that I recommended keeping with you today, but I'm going to give you a moment to get things ready in case you don't. We are going to start from your reply to inquiry and follow-up process. So, and there's a reason why we want to get started for that. So I would recommend that you get your first reply to inquiry ready with
This
you
is
on a
where you
Word
test
doc.
everybody to see if they've done the homework, yeah?
Exactly that. I also wanted to see if anybody with the webcam was scrambling around trying to find to find material. But so this is why we're starting from this. If you remember what we said last time, we said two things about how people interact with you. We said there is a lot more of interaction that gets started on social media, especially if you're advertising. That means by default, you will be reaching that 60% of your audience who isn't ready to buy today, but will be ready in a few weeks or months. So they might be as ideal as a client as the one that you get via the website, but they behave in a very different way because they are colder leads. And we know now that they are shopping around. For those of you who forgot or weren't with us last time, when I say shop around, I don't mean they look for cheap. Indication and data and stats that Google shared with us tell us that that people aren't shopping for cheap. They want the best quality at the best price. And the big challenge that you all are facing is you have really good competition at very similar prices. Hi, Adam, it's good to see you. We were having this conversation in a separate group call in our app yesterday. And I will take just a moment to share this with you. Those of you who have been in the industry and been working for longer know exactly what I'm talking about. When an industry is booming, this is true for all industries, it's not just photography. New industry booming, it's very easy to grow as a business because you don't have much competition. People start getting interesting, it becomes a trend. So all you have to do to get clients is basically exist and being seen, which is, I'm sure, some of you have experienced that. I remember when I started with the coaching was still very much like that. Then there's a second step or a second stage in the growth of an industry where you are able to separate yourself or to stand out by just being the one who is a professional, offering high quality, great experience, and you can differentiate yourself and you can win, let's say, by saying I'm the pro, I'm experienced, I'm sure that I can offer a better experience, quality and all that, versus those who are cheap but they don't offer the same thing. This is still a good time or an easier time to grow with your business. When things get challenging is where we get to where we are now. Your competition is, again, very likely offering similar quality, similar price, a little bit lower, cheaper or more expensive, and possibly with a very similar structure and message. So how do we differentiate yourself from others? And this idea of let me let people in, sorry. This idea of standing out and so on, how do we do that? How do we make sure that people choose us versus someone else, or the photographer down the road? Okay, I hope you follow me up until now. One very important note here, everything that I'm going to share with you today, this is important, is my point of view on how you should, on the best way to navigate these next few months here, and so where there is uncertainty and where things are changing so dramatically. I don't believe that my way of seeing things is the only way possible. And I don't want you to look at my recommendation and be like, oh, this is what needs to be done. This is everything that I share with you is what I see working best at the moment and what I believe is the best way forward based on my experience, my knowledge and everything. So we are not here to say that someone else giving different type of recommendation is wrong or they don't know what they're talking about. This is with with your best interest at heart, what I think is the best way moving forward. So how do we stand out? My opinion, the best way of standing out, unless you're a studio working with high volume of sessions, and if there's anybody in that situation, please put your name in the chat so I can keep referring to you and explaining how different things might be for you. If you don't work on high volume of sessions with a team of photographers and so on, in my opinion, the best way of standing out is to connect with your clients in a personal way. Because no matter what we say about your style of photography, your experience, how professional you are and everything else, nothing is as unique as you versus someone else. The way that you interact with people, the way that you word things, if you keep it personal, will help you stand out. So how do we put this in practice though? So we start from the reply to inquiry. What I saw end of last year, what we saw in the coaching end of last year, beginning of this year, was that we were struggling a lot more to get the conversation going with emails. We come from history, let's say, or way of doing things that is based on people sending an inquiry. You send a very professional email with lots of information. This is what you send first to them as a reply to inquiry. Am I right, more or less? Please make sign with your head on. So we're used to having a first reply to inquiry that explains how the session works. These are the prices, sometimes a link to the website. Is this your experience? Give me a sign. Okay, Adam, thank you. Carol, okay, good, good, thank you. So now, again, put into context, these used to be a great way of doing things because we were getting the vast majority of inquiries from a hotter audience who had more time to read. They were more used to still reading long form content, and they didn't know as well as they know now how to shop around because of what we said, if you remember, about how things changed during the pandemic. Remember, Google was saying to us, people have learned how to shop for every single thing and how to do research online. They really didn't know how to. They knew how to use Amazon and so on, but then the pandemic changed that behavior into, no matter what I'm looking for, I am going to spend time looking around and shopping around. So this is what people are doing now when they inquire with you. So chances are that they will receive quite a few emails back from other photographers. This plus Facebook ads and social media ads in general. So let's look at this. I'm sharing my whiteboard. You should be seeing it in a moment. So Google says to us, even those who will find us in Google. Let's say we were talking last time about a 3%, more or less, although it might be slightly different. Those people will do their own research, even if they inquire via the website now, and this is different from what they used to. But Google also say to us, they look at your website and then move to social media before getting in touch. Don't know why I scribbled around, but anyway, they don't inquire right away, they move to social media. Those who inquire directly will inquire very likely with other photographers because they're shopping around. Those who don't and are still in the phase of doing their research without getting in touch will visit your social media, will start seeing ads from other photographers. So the inquiry you get today in your inbox is in a situation where they are actively shopping around, number one. And when it comes to social media, they are likely seeing other options for the same photo, same session, without even having to do anything, because more people are advertising. So social media, they see ads, actively comparing options via Google and websites. On social media, they don't need to do anything actively. So what happens is, if you send a whole long email with all information and you end that email by saying to them, please let me know if you have any questions, you are shooting yourself in the foot. You're giving your lead everything they need to know to go around and compare you with someone else, assuming that they take time to read that email and they don't just forget about it. Without ever needing to speak with you. They know everything they need to know. They don't need to actually reply to that email until they get to the very final stages of making a decision, assuming that by then you're still one of the options that they are considering. So put everything together now. If you don't even get a chance of getting that conversation started, how are we going to show how different you are to others? Because on paper, chances are that your reply to inquiry is very similar to others. Very similar. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable here and ask you to share the reply to the inquiry, but I have seen enough this year with the business assessment with photographers that weren't working with me to say 98% of the replies to inquiry were basically the same exact thing, just slightly different words. So exercise number one that we're going to do now is, well, how do we get the conversation started then? I get an inquiry. What do I do to get people to reply to me? My first advice would be to split test your reply to inquiry and have a much shorter version of that reply to inquiry. That is a very, very easy question for them to answer. For example, it could be that we say to them, thank you, I've just received your inquiry, delighted to hear from you. Would you like to receive all information via email for me to give you a call? And I know what you're thinking, which is nobody will tell me that they want to receive or they want to chat with me on the phone. It doesn't matter. The response to that email doesn't, it's simply to get the conversation going. Another way of asking a very simple question could be, especially for newborn photographers, you could say, thank you, delighted, blah, blah, blah. I got your information here just so I know exactly what to send you. Just wanted to know if you've had a session before, this is your first one. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes now to draft it, write it down quickly. Sarah, yes, for now. We keep it via email. We keep it via email. So the goal here is to get you a chance to hear back from people. Gonna give you a few minutes again, write down that question that you're going to ask, and it has to be a very short email and so on. And then I would love to hear objections to this. Typically, the objection is, what if if they ask for prices? Should I not give them prices? Susie said something interesting, so I'm going to give you a few minutes and then we'll talk. Yep. Adam, don't know if you can hear me. But now I say I recognize you, so just know I'm gonna keep asking you a question. You're going to be tortured during this. You were typing, good. I was interested in hearing your feedback in terms of have you experienced what I have experienced, which has been end of last year and so on, the decrease in the number of responses that you were getting to your first reply to inquiry or not? Yeah, those are good.
There you can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
There you go. It does work. Yes, big decrease for 26, 27 inquiries.
This is something that was a big it really prompted me to look into this. When I talk about response to inquiry, by the way, this is probably something, knowing Fiona is a numbers person. Response to inquiry, I would recommend that you all start tracking that together with your conversion rate. Response to inquiry for me would be the number or the percentage of replies that you get out of this first connection and the first follow-up. What I have seen, we have started tracking this, or I try to get people to track that, because I would like to ensure that with this first email, the shorter email, or when you split test, you're able to achieve a 50% plus response to the first reply. If you are already there, so if you're getting 50% plus replies to inquiry, that my second question would be, where are your leads coming from? I'm complicating things a little bit, but this is what I would like you to start thinking about, because it's something that I've seen very often doing the business assessment with people. I was hearing from them, oh, I'm not getting many inquiries, but but the conversion rate is high. And then when we went and investigated that, I kept seeing that the vast majority of people, of inquiries these photographers were getting, were returning clients, and some from websites, so past clients, recommendations, and from website. So this is where you need to put the two things together. Number one, I would say you need to ensure, if you want to keep growing, that you get, my point of view would be 60-70%, but at the very least 50% of the clients and inquiries you get are from new clients, not returning. That's what you need to grow the business. You need, I would say, the majority of people to get to you that are new clients. If you are already in that position and you're seeing a lower than 50% response rate, introduce this new way of replying to people and see if that gets you back to 50%. I'm going to read for a moment. Fiona, I don't know, I'm gonna make you uncomfortable because you weren't planning on saying anything, but if you could share one tip on how to track this response rate. I don't know how you're doing that at the moment, but easy tip for them, for those who aren't tracking the response rate. How would you do it? How would you get started today?
I'm old school. I do everything pen and paper. So
I like that.
just do it. So if you're pen and paper, just have a notepad and a pen that sits by your desktop, and whenever you get an inquiry, I just have check boxes for everything. But then I update you weekly as to where we're at. So it's manageable. But if you're a spreadsheet person, just a Word document or something, just whatever you do to track your numbers, just add an extra layer to that. And whenever you get an inquiry, just a tally mark. And then if they reply, another tally mark. Do what you do, just add this in. If you don't track anything, start by tracking this. Because if you don't know, if you don't have a starting point, you're shooting at the wind with numbers, and you can only accurately assess your business if you know your numbers.
If any of you struggles with tracking and so on, I would absolutely recommend start with pen and paper. Every day, number of inquiries, number of replies, number of bookings. Even that, if you do it for a month, is going to make a huge difference. So a couple of recommendations. What I'm reading is good. However, this is again based on what we are seeing. Always when you reply, mention where you got the inquiry from, especially if it's from an ad. So say I just got your inquiry from our thank you for applying via a Facebook ad or whatever, and explain and put your name there. Again, don't trust the sender. So explain who you are, remind them. And I cannot tell you, so in our coaching we have, in one of the coaching we have, let's call it lead management, we do for our clients. I cannot tell you how many times when following up, we've heard, oh, I've sent a few inquiries, who are you? Which one is this? And this is after we had already sent the email, and then people were calling and were saying, oh, this is me, blah, blah. They are, you're likely one in a few replies to inquiry. So explain where you got the lead, the contact details, who you are, and what the session is, always. Okay, good. This is all good. About the track, I put a link to tracker for leads. Monday, yes, if you message me on Facebook, I can solve that issue for you, or answer that question for you about the tracker. So step number 1 that I would like you to do after the call, draft or refine this email reply to inquiry that you're using. And for the next week or 2 weeks, I would like you to either split test this with your normal reply to inquiry, or only use this one, and track today. If you have an idea of how many replies to inquiries you're getting, great. Otherwise, track it for the next 1 or 2 weeks. You should get 50% or more from applying these changes. And if you do, you should see conversions from there. If you have any questions, put them in the chat about this, and I will give you one more steps in terms of dealing with inquiries. I want you to keep in mind 3 things, and the exercise that I want you to do after the call is this. They will likely, or hopefully they will reply to this, and at that point you're going to have to get the conversation started and give them information, which will be a longer email if you're dealing with that via email. So 3 things to keep in mind. We mentioned last time, our brains struggle to read a sentence that's longer than 7 words. Sometimes I see reply to inquiries that are these paragraphs that are 17 lines long. Review it and maybe make sure that it's easier to read on mobile. Don't do it on desktop. You need to open your reply to inquiry on mobile. Is it easy to read? Bullet points can help. And the other thing that I would suggest or recommend is you get, especially if the inquiries that you're getting are from a website, don't send them back to the website to see the prices. People do not have time or attention for this. So you need to think about yourself in that moment as customer service. Imagine that you're dealing with Vodafone or whatever on a customer service, on a chat or whatever. You want information given to you in such an easy and simple way that you will understand and be able to follow, even if you have another 37 things on your mind. Very important. So exercise number 1, refine this email to inquiry. Exercise number 2, have a look at your longer reply to inquiry with all information. Is it easy to read on mobile? You can also use a friend if you want, send it to them. Can they actually read it? Does it include all the information that they need? Or are you asking them to go around and look for information again? Every single time that you cause people to do or to put effort into finding the information, you are delaying their ability or them actually looking into the information. So if there is another photographer who provides that information in an easier way, more digestible, they call them, they message them, or so, you've lost the booking, 100% guaranteed. And I would take this a step further. Alex, we're probably going to need like a series of 17 workshops here.
I was going to say, yeah,
to cover everything.
This sounds a little bit more in depth. Can I just quickly ask? We've got a question
Yes.
in the group there. Is this being recorded just because somebody's at the doctor's?
It is being recorded, yes.
Perfect. There you go.
There was one more thing that I wanted to recommend is if you are sending PDFs, guides, and everything else, make sure that they aren't giant 50 pages in PDFs, because that is the same. You're going to have the same or see the same issue. Okay. We're going to stop now with reply to inquiries, with adding or to end this section with one more exercise for you to do. If you remember last time we said Google is telling us that people want 6 touch points, or before they even get to actually consider you as a shortlisted for the service, they need 6 touch points. So if you aren't following up often enough or enough times, you're going to see the same issue. You might be the trigger, but they will forget about you by the time that they make a decision. Carrie, yes, I can do that. So you have to have a series of 3 or 4 follow-ups in your workflow that you can go to and use to get back in touch with your leads. Ask me questions, because I know you're probably thinking this only so many times I can ask if people have received my email. While you think about your questions about the follow-ups, the 3 actions are email, shorter email, tracking the response rate, and getting these follow-ups ready for your leads. I would have a 4th action here that would be review the longer email that you're sending. Now, next section is why did we start, which is the reason why we started with a reply to inquiry. It takes me back to the conversation about where our leads coming from. Can I ask you please to put it in the chat if you're able to type if you are not doing any advertising on social media. So type no if you aren't. So I know how to approach this section. So no, did one last week. Okay. Okay, so I would say the vast majority. No. David, that is okay. So if I understand, you're saying you're doing ads for lead generation ads on Facebook. If that is the case, yeah, I consider that advertising. Okay. So there's a few. I would say probably the majority of you are doing ads, which proves our theory that there's many more people advertising now compared to how it used to. I'm pretty sure had we done this workshop, we did, because remember, Alex, when we did the one at the lab,
Yes.
the vast majority of people were not doing any social media ads. We had to start from boosting.
It was a bit of an eye-opener.
Yeah, it is. And if I go back to when I started with the coaching, which was 7-8 years ago, every single client I would get back then was not advertising. So this is, for those of you who aren't, this is how things have changed, which hopefully should also prompt you to think about, okay, where am I losing leads and inquiries and clients? Now, obviously, I cannot explain or get into the details of how to set up an ads and everything. That would be that is basically the half of the coaching that we do. But there's a few things that I want to make sure you know, because these are the most common mistakes when people approach advertising. Number one, I hope that it's clear why there is a lot of opportunity there and why you should consider, and the fact that you are in the minority not doing it is something you want to keep in mind. Biggest misconception about advertising, which is exactly why I wanted to get started with reply to inquiries. Advertising for your business at this stage will be a lead generation advertising, meaning all you're doing with your ads is get those people who are in the 60% of the audience, potential audience, to get in touch with you so you can get the conversation started. If you go into advertising thinking that people will be ready to book the moment that they inquire, and you treat them that way and you communicate that with them that way, forget it. These days, that is not possible. The example that I use with everybody to help understand this concept is, imagine that you are on a dating app, and when you get a lead, is somebody saying hi, sending you a message, or they swipe, I don't know which way, to say, yes, I'm interested, or I want to connect, right? And you cannot reply to them with your entire biography. I was born in 1983, lived in, can we get married next month? This is what your long reply to inquiry feels like to those leads. It's not going to work. Think about all you're doing with your ads is generating leads to give you an opportunity to get the conversation started. It is frustrating, and it will be frustrating, especially in the beginning, because by default, the vast majority, this is across industry, the vast majority of leads the majority of leads that you're going to get are not going to convert. Your ads will be profitable, even if the majority of people don't convert, or leads don't convert. The tendency emotionally for everybody who gets started with advertising is to focus on the leads who don't convert. This is, I can guarantee to all of you, including the people who are in my coaching, Every day I hear about the leads who don't convert. Very often I don't hear about the conversions. Change your mindset. The reality is that if you do ads for £8-9 a day or so, you can run your ads for an entire month, get one booking only. So do everything wrong, get one booking and still cover your costs. If you compare this with what you consider free, which is organic marketing, I hope that you can see things this way. When you work on your organic marketing, your SEO, your social media, and so on, you cannot even track the return that you have on an hour of your work. So if in your mind you think this is free, but if I do ads, I spend money, I would ask you to think about again and be like, well, an hour of my time spent creating a reel or 2 hours has a cost. How sure am I that that is going to give me a return? You don't know, but you're doing it anyway. With ads, that becomes tracked. You can track it and improve from there. Okay, so what are the steps that we should be taking now if you want to get started with ads? Number one, the first exercise and the most important, it doesn't matter if you're boosting stuff, you're planning on doing an ad, exercise for after this call, I want you to write a normal caption, assume that is a post, but I want you to assume that the person reading doesn't know what you're talking about, doesn't know that you are talking to them, and doesn't know anything about your sessions. I would like you to do one little exercise now with me. What would be the first line that you put in this caption, in this boosted post, let's call it? First line only. And if you want to understand what I'm talking about, imagine that your ad is you're walking into a stadium on the stage and you have 1.5 seconds to get somebody's attention. David, I can tell you're doing ads. I want to read more, come on. You can add a little bit more to that. To the getting married, if you wanted. For weddings, I often use the, if I'm doing ads with that in mind, I getting married in 2026, for example. I have noticed that helps a little bit with weddings. Oh, you're all doing well. Good. These are all good examples for those of you reading. So, Maxine, no, I would say no, I'm being bold here. And this is the reason why. This is the only reason why. That could be in the ad. However, I'm not interested to read about you. Trust me, it doesn't resonate with me, it doesn't get my attention. In fact, I go as far as to say I don't trust you. I don't know who you are, I don't know what this ad is about. I don't trust you. You have to earn my trust. So think about that line. That line should be about the reader, not about you. Yeah. Good. Okay, these are all good. You are on the right path. Susie, that is okay. That is okay. It's still, to me, it's a bit vague. Especially thinking about a cold audience. Oh, David, now you're giving away lots of information here. Yeah, that answered the second step of the in traditional direct response advertising. The second paragraph in your ad should answer the question, why should I keep reading this? So the first line, which you all got, would be who should be reading? And the second would be, why should I keep reading? So exercise after this call or webinar, write the whole thing, please. Write the whole caption. If you've never done an ad, boost a post, it might be the easier way for you to get started. If you hate the idea of spending that £5 on a boosted post, I would suggest, but you are struggling with inquiries and so on, I would suggest that at the very least, every now and then you post something on your page that is for a completely cold lead or person who's just seen and found your page. And again, if you are boosting or you're doing an ads and so on, that reply to inquiry is even more important. No, this one is a better one, the last one that you posted. It doesn't have, if you're getting started with ads, it is important that you keep it simple. The whole structure and what you write, keep it absolutely basic, I would say, because the more you write, the higher the chances that you're going to get it wrong. Copywriting is a job, especially for, in generally, and for direct response advertising. There is one question that I'm not seeing though, and I am surprised, which is, should I put my prices in the ad or not, or in the caption? And my answer to that would be, I would want to put an anchor there and to give people an idea of where you are. With this is general advice. Again, David, I don't know if you do that. There's obviously, that's a specific strategy that you're following. But the fact that you have it in the ad, iPhone 236, I don't know who you are, but I would have the price. I would have a starting price idea. Again, this is general. On the ad, don't assume people are going to read that. So if I could give you 3 mantras to write down as a morning reminder, if you are getting started with advertising, assume that the majority of people, or the majority of your leads, will not convert. You will be profitable anyway. Assume that people don't read most of what is in the ad. Assume that if you read, they have forgotten by the time you get the conversation started. Don't get frustrated. Don't ask yourself, I don't know why people apply if they don't even reply to me. This is what we're doing. Over time, you can tweak things to improve this balance. But if you're just getting started, don't go into this process hating it and expecting it to work the same way that website inquiries were working 5 years ago. I also do a Facebook post just to get my name in front of people, no call to action. Yeah, David, that's fine. Of course, you can do that. There's a million things that you can do in terms of advertising. You can do boosted posts for branding. You can do videos. You can do awareness, all sorts of things. I would say for the vast majority of people who are getting started, they get started thinking about ads because they struggle with lead generation. They don't get enough leads, and they are scared of investing a lot of money. If I had a limited budget, I would say probably I would start from generating leads. When I get that right, I can do a lot more. And I'll tell you why I'm saying this. what you're doing is great. And I think from a branding long-term point of view, that is in itself even if I wasn't to do lead generation, is a viable and sustainable way of growing the business. But I think there's a big difference between generating leads and being able to track how much a lead and a booking costs me, which I'm sure you're doing, versus awareness. And I feel there is a need to push people in the direction of tracking how they invest in advertising. Okay, we're going to move into the next step here. Why did I say to you that even if you're not going to boost that post, but David, I hope this makes sense. What you're doing is correct for you. Absolutely. Why did I say even if you're not going to boost your posts or to create an ad, is useful to have in your feed every now and then something like this? Let's take a deep breath. We're gonna address social media now. So we need tea. That's what we need. Okay. Again, this is my view on how to use social media in a sustainable way. We briefly touched on this last time, and we said, do you need to become a content creator? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I had a call with a photographer Friday, I believe. I don't know if she's here. I have invited her, but she was busy, so I don't know if she's here. And she showed me how much work, or she told me how much work she's put into social media and how that turned into almost hating the process because she wasn't seeing the results for the effort that she was putting in. If you feel that, or if you feel that you need to be creating content all the time to be able to grow your business, you don't need to do that. This is my recommendation, or this is my view. You don't need to. My experience is that you don't need to. You need to, though, understand how to use content on social media and what the role of each type of content is. So the way social media has changed and the way platforms work, like as we were saying last time, they rely on content creators to create the content that keeps people on the platform. And they know that short video is highly addictive, so it's more efficient and effective at keeping people on the platform. So obviously that is a strategy from, you've seen what's been happening Instagram versus TikTok. Instagram has introduced short form video to be able to compete with TikTok and not lose users to TikTok. Thank you, Kato, for joining us. So the platforms are interested in using your videos, and they're interested in making you feel that your videos are more successful than the static posts that you publish on your pages. So videos by default, whenever you post a reel, doesn't even matter what very much what you put on the content of the reel, will be shown to a percentage. The people who are going to see your video, there will be a big percentage on there who are not your followers. Because again, the game that Instagram is going to play is to show your reels to people who are watching related content to keep them scrolling, basically. So you will see more views than likes on a static post, because the reach that you get on your post is going to be lower. And the reason for it is that what you post on your pages, so think about video. Instagram will help me promote my video. It will push it outside my following. What I publish on my page will be shown to people who have engaged with my content recently. So by default, if somebody hasn't seen your post for a while, they haven't engaged, they've scrolled past, they will not see the new ones. So this is where you, or what you operate with. Now, this obviously means that video is good to help you grow. However, there is very likely there is a big part of the non-followers that will see your video who isn't really a potential client. So there will be a big chunk of those viewers who are photographers. There is no guarantee that they're going to be local as well. So if this idea of creating as many reels as possible, you need to consider, I'm putting time and effort into creating something that isn't targeted. So I would recommend that you do some form of video, that you publish it every week consistently. If I was to tell you how many, I would say if your audience is limited, so you're under the 5,000 followers or so on, I wouldn't probably do more than 1 or 2 a week. Kill me for saying that or disagree with me, but this is what I believe it's sustainable for somebody who should be busy shooting and probably is busy shooting and with everything else. This will help you generate traffic to your feed. So the goal of this video is not for us to get people to watch it and entertain them, but to actually drive people to your profile and your page. And a minority of the viewers will do that. What we know about how people behave these days on social media is that this traffic lands on your profiles, and your static posts with images, your carousel posts and so on, are what actually converts them into, or what is the most effective way of converting them into inquiries. So rethink your feed a little bit, as there will be, I want to not only engage with my existing followers, but these colder people who see my video. What do they want to see on our page for them to take an action and for them to learn more and so on? And so here's the exercise that we're going to do, which is, and then we're almost done for today. So I want you to look at your the post that you put on your feed and that you have planned for your feed, and ask yourself the question, is 30% of my content, or the content of my feed, going to resonate with a cold lead who doesn't know me, doesn't know much about newborn session or dog sessions or whatever, they'd never had that session? And is there any guidance there, any call to action? Might be extreme, but anything that's going to get them to get in touch with you? Step number 1, so 30% of that written for a cold audience. Is there another 30% of the content on my feed that is going to help me build trust, so that they land on my page and they trust me a little bit more? I'm not just a generic business or photographer. Reviews posted on your page, if you're able to have behind the scenes or anything like that, that helps you make you a little more human. Okay, so without going into anything too complex or complicated or amazing copywriting, rethink what you put on your feed. Are you doing video? If yes, great. Don't think you need to do a lot more than 1 or 2 a week. If you aren't doing any, get started, because there is a benefit in doing that. But that must be associated with a 30% of what's on your feed should speak to a colder audience and not to your existing or past clients. And there should be another 30% that helps you build trust, reviews, showing the behind the scenes, showing who you are and everything else. Then the remaining 60%, 40% can be written by ChatGPT. Nobody cares. That's totally fine. If you add to this picture advertising, that when you put the power of video almost on steroids, because now you have, and you don't have to use video. There was a question about this. You don't need to do ads with videos. They can be even trickier if you don't know what to do with video or how to build video for conversions. So what you do with your ads is you have a targeted audience now that will visit your pages and profile. So I hope I'm not overwhelming you. Let's recap where we are at the moment. Be very mindful of the type of content that you create on social media, and don't let impressions or noise fool you. These are tools that you use. You have to be aware how to use them. What is video doing? What are posts on my profiles doing? There will always be a difference in the immediate feedback that I get. That is very little to do with how good the content is or how interested people are in video versus what you post on your page. It's a lot more to do with how the algorithm works. Content on your pages, static content is important. How can you not be posting every single or spending every single waking hour creating content? How can you be more effective? You can add advertising to that. That is going to be a big advantage. Will also get you to target that 60% of the audience who's colder, but is actually a bigger chunk of your audience compared to what is in Google. Be prepared, because the moment you get better at getting new clients and getting in touch with them, you have to really be spot on with your reply to inquiry. And you need to be able to split test your reply to inquiry. You need to be able to get more conversations started. And so in the beginning, that will be a learning process. Don't make the mistake of going into lead generation and so on and giving up because you don't see people converting. I'm going to give you a minute to post questions. I will read. Alex, I don't know if you want to say something before I quickly talk about website. We only have a few minutes left. I know you're all
If I can
busy.
actually manage to unmute myself, yeah, so sort of granddad playing at a kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, again, just a huge thank you to yourself, G, for giving up your time for this. I mean, I've taken away a lot from it, and I'm actually going through some of the stuff that I've got coming out in the next couple of weeks, and I'm thinking, I'm going to have to tweak that a bit. So it, you know, you never get too long in the tooth to sort of learn new things like this. In regards to ongoing support and stuff like that, you know, obviously you can always ask us questions in the VIP group. G's got a number of different channels that you can get in touch with her on as well. Would love to hear from you. Would love to hear how, if you've actually taken anything from these sessions and implemented them and how it's worked and stuff like that and how that works towards yourselves. I mean, there was so much that you said actually resonated with me with what we're doing in terms of the best thing to do in that initial kind of greeting and stuff like that is just to organize a chat, just to organize a video call or a phone consultation, or have that lunatic Nick bull down to the other end of the country to see them and stuff like that, because people appreciate that kind of face-to-face interaction, that sort of reassurance that, you know, you're there for them. And I think that translates really well to photographers. I mean, God, don't drive to people's houses, but, you know, like those people that were saying they were setting up calls and setting up sort of video chats and stuff, I think that's a great way in, because it just reassures the client, and it gives them that confidence and almost getting to know you before they're coming in. which alleviates so much stress of the client when they're actually coming in, because it can be quite a nerve-wracking thing going for a photo shoot, or taking your newborn to a photo shoot. So these are really, really good points, and really, really glad that we've been able to go through them again today.
I'll read you one thing that the person who's doing the lead management told me last night, and she said, if I can find it, maybe not. We were talking about leads and the feedback she's getting and so on, and she said, so something I've noticed the last 2 weeks especially, people are thanking me for quick responses. I'm starting to see in this week even more conversion, and it made me wonder if they are inquiring with others and not getting a response very quickly. A few people this week mentioned how nice it was to have replies from a real person and not from a bot or auto reply. So this is real feedback from someone who was handling yesterday. She had 83 leads for different photographers.
I've heard that a lot as well. I mean, I was speaking to one of our guys, photographer over in Northern Ireland, and he was saying that he'll always try and reply to an inquiry on the day of receiving it, even if it's just a WhatsApp.
Absolutely.
To be able to just get through to them and just say, hi, thanks very much. I saw your inquiry coming in, can't wait to speak to you, but I'll, give me a call. I'll drop the information over to you at a later date. But just that initial confirmation and that initial sort of hello is
for sure
important.
And keeping it personal and keeping it warm is very important. That's why I was saying to you, make even the short reply as personal as possible. That's your first step to standing out. It's you taking the extra care of making people feel welcome is the first step to getting the conversation started. One noticed the huge shift too. So yeah, fast replies, inquire. Yes, Adam, you're right. People are used to real-time interaction for sure. That's what we're used to, and so especially if it's that later evening inquiries and so on, then you're almost guaranteed that they're actually paying attention, because they haven't sent you an inquiry while they are shopping and dealing with other 50 things. You're absolutely right. One last recommendation, websites. Alex, I think maybe at some point we can do something about website. This is a huge topic, but
I want to definitely should, yeah.
I want to give just a couple of pointers. We're not going to get too much into SEO. I'm sure you've heard from many, SEO is changing. It is changing radically. But here's what I would do today. I would go and work on the page of your course session, whether that's dog photography, pet photography, weddings, and I will review your page with following the same idea that we've used, or philosophy that we've used for the first reply to inquiry, which is people struggle to read long sentences. Visually, if it's too long paragraph, small text, they will not read, they will just scroll past things. And what is that really is helping you stand out? Are there sentences, are there words or pictures in there that people will remember? Or you're still in the old era of marketing, saying newborn photographer in. This was again going back to our last workshop at the lab. Back then, 83 out of 100 websites that I looked at, that was for newborn photographers. 83 out of 100 were award-winning
so many
newborn photographers.
It was staggering. It was like being at an Oscars party. It was brilliant.
So what you need to think about is the quality of your work matters incredibly, but it doesn't make a difference. Because the reality is you're competing with people who are able to offer something that's very, very, very similar at a very similar price. So I want to know why I should trust you to guide me through this process that I know nothing about. If you go back to what we were saying last time, I beg you to think about it. Think about your job as a photographer as a lot more than the person taking picture. You are a coach guiding people through this once in a lifetime experience they know nothing about. They don't even know exactly what they are doing in terms of what is that they're actually getting out of this session. Your job is to get them to see the big picture. If you speak a language that they understand and that is not technical and that is human and that makes them feel like you care about their experience more than you care about yourself, that is a way of connecting. Yeah, that is a way of connecting. So the exercise, once you've reviewed how easy the content is to consume for people on mobile, so no long sentences, easily readable on mobile, take it to the next step, which is change your headlines at the very least on your page. Change a couple of your headlines so that they speak directly to the client. Okay. Do you mean your landing page when they click on your newborn website? I would start from the session pages, not from your homepage, because it's easier to work on those that on your homepage. The homepage is, in a way, maybe more important, but normally the flow, the customer journey, let's call it, or the user journey is I go onto your homepage and then I click to go and view a session page. So let's work on the session pages. For those of you who are still here, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. If my email address is here, studio.photography, I would love to read from you feedback on what you have implemented. I would like for you to leave this, those of you who are already working with me, thinking, if I've gone through these 2 workshops, I'm excited, but I'm not taking any action, nothing is going to change, no matter how much you've learned. Take even just one action today, one tomorrow, but you have to start changing things, and you have to go into the process of changing things without being scared of breaking your business, because you're not going to. One last thing, Alex, anything else? You've been amazing, amazingly patient being here the whole
No,
time.
I mean, just like what I said before, I would love to hear how people have implemented these and how it's affected the business, because it's huge for us. It's all got this cascade effect. So what affects you affects us, and we're trying to improve how you can reach your clients, because it's all connected kind of thing. So it would be great to hear back from you all. And just a huge thank you again to you, G. It's been brilliant.
I can't wait for the next one. I hope we can
Absolutely,
organize
yeah.
one soon. In the chat, if you want to have something a little more personal in terms of guidance, review what you've done, that is still free. There's the business assessment if you're a business and marketing assessment. And thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. Bye all. Bye bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Cheers.